Yes.
Hello,
What?
Annie, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Yay! Annie and
Yeah.
I both have got voices.
Yes. And we're moving as well. So that's always a good thing, right?
Well, I think so. I
That's
think
like a
so.
win.
So,
I don't
people,
know.
if you're out there, let us know you're out there because we've got no clue at the moment. So, please, if you're out there, tell us. Oh,
We have a
where are we
clue. I think
live? Are we on YouTube? Are
I'm
we on
just. I said.
LinkedIn?
I'm just telling my LinkedIn on now. I think we're
Right.
live on LinkedIn. It looks like we're live on LinkedIn.
Yay!
So I'm just going to turn my YouTube on, and we should be live there too. It's
I
always
do
helpful.
apologize for my voice as well, by the way. I sound very old and croaky, like a croaky, angry old lady sometimes, but it's just
You
asthma and
you sound all right. You don't sound croaky.
oh, you wait, give it half an hour, and then you'll go, oh, that's the old lady bit coming in. You'll be able to tell when it happens. I'll just take one look at you and you'll
Yeah,
be like, oh, she's turned into a Dalek.
it's when you announce your cough that I find fun. I find funny.
I apologize for it because
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate making a lot of noise and fuss. I'd much rather crawl in the corner and be quiet and die quietly than make a big fuss about it.
Nah,
But
I can't let
hey,
you die quietly in the corner. Can't let you die quietly for that. Obviously no. Anyway, like you say, if you're here, my friends, do say hi. No, say no. Well, that's some strange person said hi already. Says we're live.
hey,
Yeah.
that'd be you then.
I don't know. This is a funny person on YouTube. How you doing,
Huh?
Christy? At least Christy's here, so we're not alone.
Hey,
How you
hi
doing,
Christy.
Christy?
Hi Christy.
Yeah,
There'll be
so
people coming in. They always
of
do.
course
They
there
never
will
let
be.
us down.
Yeah,
I
no,
shared the stage with Christy. I think she's one of the up and coming stars of LinkedIn myself. I think
yeah,
that there
I
is a
agree.
young lady there who has got so much passion, and I fed off it. I hope we fed off each other. So it was wonderful.
So, which show was that then?
With Martha, Connect Impact Hub. So Christy's joining us there. So fantastic. We want
Cool.
really people that care and compassionate people that, care about the fellow human being, that kind of thing, and
Mm.
Christy's one of them. So we're very fortunate to have another one in the kitty, as it were.
Yeah, no, she's definitely that. So I met her a little while ago, and she's definitely one of those people that you know that she has something to offer our community on LinkedIn. So
Oh, heart of gold,
we need to
heart of
get
gold.
here truly. So
Mm.
we need to hear from her more from her and see her more.
Oh, we will. As confidence grows, you watch this space, Batman. Watch this space. I tell you, she's going to be the up and coming, the one to
I
watch.
agree. I agree. So I can't wait for her to
That
start
was
doing
that. I
her.
did a little sneaky, sexy wink. That's my new thing. I've got to stop doing it because apparently the men like it too much.
Stop
On
doing
Tiki,
it.
on TikTok, it gets me in trouble. Let me tell you.
You bring your own problems to yourself, madam. Seriously,
Exactly. No,
you
well,
bring your own
truly.
problems. No, we like winking at perverts on TikTok. Isn't that?
I
Where's that
didn't
gonna
know
get
they were
you?
perverts at the time.
They're
I
all
only found out they were
perverts.
perverts.
They're all weirdos.
Listen, funny story, right? This is the funniest story ever. Before we start, I've got to tell you the funniest story. I got asked a question, and it seemed like quite a straightforward question. It was, do you paint your toenails? And I said, yes, because I do, or I get them done. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it said, do you have hairy
Why?
toes? And I was like, pardon? Do you have hairy toes? I said, yeah, not really. I said,
I shouldn't
why?
laugh.
Why?
Really, I
I
shouldn't
said,
laugh.
at that point, I should have gone bye, but I went, but
Yes.
why?
No,
He said,
blocked.
that they're my thing. I really like ladies with hairy toes. At which point I went, you need to watch The Hobbit. And I blocked him. Everyone
I'm
in the
shaking
room
my
was
head.
dying with laughter. Everyone was cracked up, but I felt such a fool for playing, just going straight. I just fell in, 2 feet.
You know
Hey
what?
ho.
What's happened to professional reputation?
Not
You
on
know,
TikTok. On TikTok, I'm in a big old pot of slush, and it's full of slush. And you can say slop, but slop's not fair because
mm,
there are people like me and other people, professionals there. But the majority of idiots that are there with. I mean, I said the other day, if everybody who was in the room was real, I had Johnny Depp, about 5 Elon Musks, 10 or 12 Fazzers. I had oh, who else was in there? Oh, Keanu Reeves, a couple of them. I had at least 3 or 4 Dolly Partons. I mean, one Dolly Parton Charles was listening into when I was doing the live in the lounge and I wasn't well. And she said, "Oh, I want to give you 100,000 and a truck." So Charles is like, "Yay, good truck! I love the truck." And I'm like, "Charles, it's not real. It's not going to
I'll take the
happen."
truck. I'll take the truck any day of the week. You know, give me the truck. Why not?
I'm like, "It's not, darling. It's not real. Sorry."
Damn.
Listen, as much as I laugh about there is an element of it that is a little bit disturbing, and
Mm,
I only did it for the sole purpose of saving us thousands of pounds in getting stock and products for the kids in care and the care leavers and foster care kids. And I know there's lots of charities do work for the young children, but when you hit sort of 12, 13, you're forgotten. You're like
mm,
between 12 and 13 and 18, you're just like, so I decided that that was the age I would kind of focus on. And yeah, I've done so well. I mean, I say to people, I'll buy one, will you give me one? And they go, well, for what you've told us, it's all for. And they come to your rooms, they listen, they make sure you are who you say you are, and they check you out, obviously, on LinkedIn and other places. They find out that you are what you say you are. And then they're like, you buy one, I'll give you two. I go, I'll buy two, you give me three. And they go, all right, you buy two, we'll give you three. So that's what I've been doing. And I've been doing it to the level where in the end it's I'll buy three, you give me 10. And it's like, how did that happen? And then they all arrive.
okay, so you feel like you're winning.
Oh, the house is full. Charles is sick of it. Um, Ben came home from uni wanting to leave. He was like, I can't live like this. I can't cope. Every single surface in the upstairs where the landing is, it's just boxes. You look around me here. Look, this is my stock room. This is my office, and it's horrendous. But listen, it's for a very good cause. It won't be lasting forever, and as I promised them again, it won't happen again till next year.
Yeah, I say
It's
that's
only
the
going to be a
danger.
few months.
You see,
No, no, no,
the danger is that you're gonna be like my wife, where she does her
no.
thing. She does her thing for what's it called, Halloween, and
Yeah.
then they ends up, because it's such a big show, for the neighborhood. Then it ends up being an all year round thing because you're forever planning the next one and always working on. So the next one is
No.
this one.
I'm very definite that this is taking up I mean, I'm not been well, so it hasn't
Mm,
taken up a lot of time in the last couple of weeks because I've been so bad. But um, and it's only asthma and hay fever, and the air is it's been acrid, it's been horrible, and they've all said we've had the hottest summer on record, but also we're
mm,
having the hottest temperatures ever, and we're having this, that, and the other. Um, it's horrendous, and for me personally, I can just tell you that it's nearly killed me. The asthma's been terrible. So, it's one of those things. All you can ever do in life is just cope with it. That's it. That's it.
mm.
I'm just going to let Charles know somebody at the door. Oh, is that you there?
Mel
Somebody
says,
at the
"Let's try
door, Mel.
Tuesday." I tell you what, Mel. I'll go and do my dad duties, and then when I come back, I'll give you a call.
There you go. Somebody at the door. I've told him. Hopefully that means he'll see it, read it, and come and answer it.
Chrissy
So it's
says,
probably another delivery.
Yeah, I tell you. And if it
No
is,
perverts.
you can show us. No pervs, definitely
No,
no
no
pervs, right?
perverts. No,
So
no. It's a
well,
pervert-free zone, and the delivery
your
drivers are
words,
lovely.
not parts up. How much more can you take of TikTok? Really? No, really. Say I can't imagine.
I would say now that I've got into a sort of mental wellness niche where people get to know what I'm talking about, they know why I'm doing it, and I talk about that sort of thing, it's helped. They don't necessarily, the Looney Tunes aren't coming so much. They just say boring or a bore off, you're a bore off. It's either get your tits out or you're a bore off. That's what I get. And if I don't get either of those, then they disappear. So I'm happy with either. And then they've gone, So I'd rather be boring than, feel like somewhere down the line you're tolerating stuff you shouldn't have to tolerate. But
That's
it's
me.
only for a short period, Annie. I said to Charles, if in 3 months, so by the end of July, I'm aiming for 15,000, which will be my 65th day on TikTok, and I'd have got 15,000 followers. So by the end of August, I should have 20,000 based on those numbers. And at 20,000, you should start making money from affiliate programs and commissions. And if I can make money selling stuff and just going live for an hour a day or an hour and a half, maybe, that's it.
A
That's my
day,
commitment.
a
You
day,
have to
every
go
day.
every day. You have to go live. Even when I was ill, croaky, I didn't do it once and I got fined. But yeah, I've got more penalty points on my license with TikTok than I've got on my driving license. I've been told off
Wow.
more times. I know, because I'm just so naughty because I don't do the things I'm supposed to do when I'm 3 days late with a review. It's like, well, I've been in bed, can't breathe. What do you want me to do? Um, it is what it is. You have to see it as a machine, and you're part of the machine, and you dip in, you dip out, and I'm doing dipping in, dipping out, and then that's me finished. And when I finish, I actually feel like I can take my TikTok hat off and my clothes and my face, the TikTok face. Do you understand what I mean? Like, this is a Mac girl you're looking at here now. This is the face of Mac over 60. I have to wear the gear they give me. But then once I get off, I just get the cloth and go, and I'm back to me.
Yes.
So
Okay. All right.
you wash it out of your wash the
Your
TikTok out of your
system.
skin. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
literally. So, Miss Superwoman, I see you. How you doing? Glad you're
Hi,
here.
Margaret.
Course, I'm coming back to you, Professor Roxana. Paulette said,
Yay!
invite Dr. Roxana. She'll be a good one tonight to come and help us today. So you're
Because
here.
because today is a topic that is so important. And I spoke to Annie about this, and I said I went to see my 4-year-old nephew, and he's going to school. I mean, a fact I ended up falling over at the Christmas disco. He had a Christmas disco in the kitchen, and I fell over and I went back on my back, and it was all very dramatic. And he was doing a magic show, and he was going abracadabra, I'll make you better. And I was lying there going, it's not working. But oh bless his
It
heart for
works. You're
trying.
still here. It works. You're
I
still
know.
here, right?
But when I eventually got up, he went, it worked. I was like, yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
But
Of
when I
course it
found
works.
out he was going to school, and I said to him, are you excited? And he went, and his little face was just like, oh, absolutely petrified. And I said to him, it's only like going to nursery. You love nursery. He goes, no, it's not like nursery, it's different people. I said, yeah, but you'll get to know them. Mummy will make dates with people that are friends that you'll meet, because you get a list of all the phone numbers of the
mm,
children that are in your class and everything. So she'll make play dates and things, and you get a few people together, and gradually, by the time September comes, you'll have a friend. And he was looking at me, and he was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, I'm sure, I'm absolutely sure." And then he went, "Okay then," and then he ran off. And that is kind of a 4-year-old's take on it. Now put yourself as an adult walking into a building for the first time, and how you feel, right? And how
mm,
nervous you are, and how it makes you feel like, am I going to be able to do this? What if nobody likes me? What if, you know? Um, the most important part for me is that it's made very, very clear that whenever you feel like, I don't think I can't stand up and speak publicly. I can't face this, or I can't face that, or I don't want to walk in that office. Nobody's going to like me. How are they going to take me? Do I fit in? Am I wearing the right clothes? All the things that go through your mind, just dial it back to a child, and that's what's going through their minds. And
mm,
we just have to be a bit more aware than we've ever been, that it's harder. It's harder than it's ever been. And the reason it's harder is because they are so attuned. You know, like he ate his dinner when we had our dinner, watching his iPad. Yes, we had the Christmas disco. Yes, he did a magic show. But given the choice, every 5 minutes it was, can I put the screen on? Can I put the screen on? Can I play a game? And that isn't disrespectful to them, because that's what kids do now. They would rather play with a 3 or 4D thing, colourful thing, than a human, right? So I'm
mm.
fun if I'm on the floor. Well, I wasn't fun when I was flat on the floor, but when I was on the floor, when I was dancing, when I was his assistant, when I was in the magic show, before I fell over, all of those things he would enjoy and play along. But he didn't see it as, it, it was still given a choice. He'd rather watch Bluey, or he'd rather watch something on the screen. So I'm just trying to say that you're like a poor choice, if that makes any sense. As fun as you can be, and as excuse me, as fun as you can be, and as full of life and beans as you can try and be, ultimately the colourful screen wins. And that's what's hard. You're competing. So what I wanted to say is that,
Cyrus
sorry,
says you
go on.
competed very well. He's asking. He says, "No, you're glowing." Cyrus, I don't do the moisturizing thing at all. I'm not. That's not me, right? My son is, he's more sensible than me. I'm sure I paid the price. But Paulette, do you? Is that, are you au natural, or have you moisturized? I think you said something just now. Whatever product you're
I've
using.
got, I've got, I
I
have MAC makeup on because I'm a MAC
Yes,
girl now,
Sarah's
but I
MAC
have
makeup.
I have nothing on. It's just a bit of a glowing moisturizer. That's all.
See, now you know.
Nothing on. Nothing to see. No, I have been. I have the fortunate to sit in the sun for a little bit, but I don't do too long because I can't breathe.
You
Too
cook.
many fields. Yeah, too
So,
many fields as well. Can't breathe.
well,
Breathing's important, I've found
it
out,
helps. Yes, it definitely helps. It's like it's the lack of breath that they carry you off in, right?
That's right.
That's when it normally goes. Miss Marsha, welcome. I see you. Glad you're here. And look, if you want to link to join us in the studio, if you want to come and make some points on this topic, then you're more than welcome. I will send a few of you the link. So just let me see who comes up on my list first. And the link is
So,
also in the comment section as well.
okay, so the two things that I said to Annie was, one, this really made me think about kids. starting school in obviously in America they start soon in August. So it kind of got my whole mind just like thinking about it all. And the thing about transitions when you're a child is um, things just happen, right? When you're a kid, things just happen. And there are moments when a child's entire understanding of the world is being reorganized and it's just happening. And nobody asks them if they wanted it to change. It's just you're going to school. How about that then? You know? Or this is your new teacher. This is where you're going to be going. Da, 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 da. Things happen. And when they happen like that, several things or reasons that make it so hard are that they don't have a survival of change yet. They haven't got a toolkit yet. You know, what we don't understand and what we didn't understand is that children don't have a toolkit. You're not born with an innate toolkit of how to handle things. So until you survive something, you don't have a history of surviving it, if that makes sense. So as adults, we live through dozens of hundreds of transitions, you know, we've started jobs, we've moved house, we've lost people, we've had different relationships, we've had male friends that turned into a-holes, we've had girlfriends that turned into the same, we've had relationships that have gone south, we've had abuse, we've had all kinds of stuff happen. But even when something happens, it's still painful and it's still part of us and it still affects us and it changes our perspective on that situation. So I personally have felt overwhelmed before and over things, and then I've let them settle down. But you could be very overwhelmed by somebody says something like, did the council cut your hair with a lawnmower? Now why should that bother me? Well, who cares what he thinks? But I was like, Charles, does my hair look like a, Charles like, don't be stupid. It was just he was looking for a reason to have a go at you because you called him out over something. Just people are petty. Um, so a 4-year-old starting nursery has no such evidence. As far as they're concerned, this could be what life is like forever. I go to nursery, I stay at nursery, this is where I go. I'm used to it. I like the people, like the kids, got friends, everything's great. Then you go, psh, and we're going to send you to school now. And their brains are still developing. The parts of the brain, especially the emotional regulation, or we talk about emotional intelligence, that's where it would be in the emotional regulation part. The part that does planning, the part that puts feelings into perspective, they're all under construction. They're not formed yet. So young children experience emotions very intensely because they're relying on us adults to help them regulate their feelings. So if a child wets themselves at school, it could be the end of the world because every other child's going to know, they're going to laugh, they had to go and get changed, everyone knew about it, whatever, right? But then it happens to another kid, and then no one cares anymore because wetting yourself is something absolutely accidents happen. Um, but when it's just you're the first one it happens to, it's mortifying. I always remember one of Ben's friends wet themselves, and Ben came home and was, how was your day today? Did you do art? Did you do that? Oh, you're never gonna guess. George wet himself. It was like the biggest thing. It's the most exciting thing. And I said, George probably was quite upset about that. He said, yeah, he cried. I said, well, do you think us laughing about it is funny? He said, no, I wasn't laughing, Mum. I was just telling you. You asked what happened at school, and I was telling you that was the biggest thing that happened at school. I said, oh, okay. That's okay then, as long as they're not finding it funny. No, no, no. And then Ben wets himself, and it's like, oh, it's the end of the world. So, but they all do it in the first few weeks because the thing is, they're frightened to put their hand up to ask to leave the table. They're frightened that if they leave the table, that something is going to be, they're going to miss something. So they leave it to the absolute last minute, and their bladders aren't. ready for that yet. When a child cries at school, when you drop them off, they're not overreacting. Their nervous system has gone into genuine signal of something important has changed and I don't feel safe. I don't feel capable of handling this on my own. And it's fear. We know what fear is. And children crave predictability. That's absolute fact. So predictability means they have a routine, they know they're safe, they know we reduce all the uncertainty in their little world. And as soon as you do a slight move to the left or a slight move to the right, then you give them a new house, a new classroom, a new bedroom, a new teacher, a parent dies, anything that could, as a GP says, knock them off kilter happens. They fall a bit wobbly. And that feeling wobbly is the bit that is really important because if we don't know what's going on in their minds, some children become very introvert about things. They won't discuss it, they won't tell you how they're feeling, and that's dangerous because then they become more and more insular, and it's very hard to get them to unpack. So try and get them to talk as soon as you possibly can, even though you know what it is. Don't be the one that says it. Just ask them, what's making you feel like this? Why do you think you feel like this? What could mum or dad do to help you? How could auntie help you feel better? You know, um, get them to talk. Remember the wait. Why am I talking? Ask the question, stop, and let them have a moment to think, yeah, I do need to talk about something. It's bothering me. So the way that I always do it is I ask them, like, is it about where you are? Stop. Try not to ask the yes, no questions if you can help yourself, but to start the conversation, sometimes you need to. Um, when they say, who's going to look after me? And you're able to tell them who's going to look after them, your new teacher, it's all going to be fine. Will things ever go back to how they were before? No, they won't, because you're moving forward. This is what growing up is. Getting older is growing up. And even when it's a positive change, like a new sibling or a holiday or something like that, can even feel overwhelming because it disrupts what they call the familiar pattern. So if you imagine a child's life is straight down the line, right? If you imagine that, and we're suddenly turning it into the yellow brick road. And that's why it becomes so overwhelming for them. Their sense of time is really important as well. To an adult, I'll be back after work feels quite manageable, right? But to a 3-year-old, 8 hours can feel like the world, the whole, like the universe is 8 hours to them. They don't know what 8 hours is. All they know is they only get half an hour on the iPad and that goes like that, right? So that's how long is 8 hours? It's like such a long time. And so sometimes it's easier to break the day down. So what you say to them is things like in the morning, and so if you use your arm, so you say this is the beginning of the day, okay, and then you'll go in the door, and then you'll find out what's going to happen, and you'll sit on the carpet and hear what's going to happen. Do the register, then you'll do a bit of work, then it'll be playtime, and then after play, you get to eat your Krispies. Then after break time, you have a little bit more school, bit more. I think it's you're doing colouring and drawing and things like that, art. Then there'll be lunchtime, and then there'll be after lunchtime there'll be this time, and then after that time it'll be home time. By the time they've seen their whole arm, they've realised that 8 hours is just an arm, and I can do that. I can cope with that. That's manageable. 8 hours seems like forever. Seems like all the way around the clock and back again. So breaking things down to make them less overwhelming is a really clever way of doing it. Trying to teach them that time is is something that they can see, as in a physical, like their arm or on a bit of paper, or however you want to do it. Just show them that it's only this big. It's not this big. Try to minimize the fear. So adults would say, I'm anxious because everything feels uncertain. I just don't know about the economy, and I don't know about this, and I don't know that. Things that worry an adult could be all sorts, right? But things that worry a child would be things like, I forgot my lunch. I forgot I forgot to bring a snack. I don't have anything to eat at break time. That could be like, oh my God, mind blowing. Right? And school will have a tray of apples mostly, normally. And they give the child an apple and go, there you go, there's something for break. And they go, oh, I've got something for break now. I can go up my arm. I can do my trip because I've got my apple. And so that's what we're trying to get kids to understand, that even the biggest thing, like forgetting their snack, can be resolved. And it can be resolved so they can continue on their journey with certainty.
Yeah,
What,
there are a couple of questions, of course.
of
And
course.
I will stop us at just before quarter
Hello,
two.
Paul.
How you
Hey,
doing,
how you
Paul?
doing, sister?
Good to see you. Seems like we lost Cyrus, but hopefully he will come back. So there are many questions there, Paulette. So here's one for you. Then we'll talk to Paul. Get Paul's thoughts on how he managed these transitions, for his kids as well. So, as Christy says, I used to dread going back to school if I was unable to get new school clothes, and I would be bullied. And I suppose that is the other side. So when kids are dreading the new, for many kids, it's not new. They were in school last year, for example. I'm saying that for some kids, they dread what they know is going to happen. The
Of
stupidness that
course.
happens,
Yes.
the bullying, and then I think there's the other side, the kids who I'm thinking of here especially, where kids go to school 9 to 11, for example, to start off with. You want to go to nursery. I don't know what it's called, kindergarten, nursery.
Yeah.
So the same to me, right? So they do a couple of hours. Then me, the parent, thinks, "Damn, you ruined my day because now I have to go and get you at 11 o'clock." A couple of hours. What's the point of that, right? But still, off you go. And then there comes a time when suddenly they have to do that whole that whole day thing. Again, that's a whole different level of processing for kids, I'm sure. But I think it's also a different level of processing for parents because when I know you're at school all day, I can make plans. I can do stuff. I can work. I can go and see friends. I can go and do this, do that, right? Whereas when you were just doing 2 hours, I barely had time to go shop and come back. I'm saying no. So the parents' anxieties are almost as big as the kids' anxieties. Is the point I'm trying to make?
Absolutely. It would be completely unnatural if it wasn't,
Oh
because
God.
you're taking on board their worries
Mm,
before they've even had the thought. You've already gone through it all for them. You're imagining the worst case scenario. No one's going to sit with them. They're going to wet themselves first day,
mm,
and they're going to be as miserable as sin, not speak to anyone, and come home
yeah,
and hate it. Right?
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
Mm,
You're dreading that. And
yeah.
then when you pick them up at the door and they're like, "Yay, I had a great day. Look what I drew." And you're like, "It was okay. It was fun. You enjoyed it." It's like, everything you imagined didn't happen. So,
Amen.
what do you
you
Hey,
reckon,
see,
Paul? What's
hey,
your thought?
I think it gets on us because the things we see in life, the people we bury in life, the people we have to forgive, the hurts that we have, and we'll spew that onto our kids. And it's subconsciously, it's just because you don't want anything to happen to your babies and you
mm,
love them so much and you want the best for them, but you also know it's evil in the world and you're not naive of that. So as a mother, my wife ain't gone 5 years now, so I call myself a mother bear and a papa bear all in one. So when I get into those points, because my youngest, she is a senior this year, she's a athletic trainer, so she'll be traveling with the team and stuff. So I got my concerns about that, but at the end of the day, I that's why I say it's a good thing in serving God, because you can just pray to Him and let Him know your worries and give it to Him, and make sure that you speak positive things to your kids, because at the end of the day, only the positive words is going to pad their soil, and then they'll become stronger, because we go to school to learn to problem solve. All of us do. We have to problem solve all through the day. So when you problem solve and your kids see the way you problem solve with them, it's adding foundation to them with their generation that's coming behind them. And it's all about knowing that all things work together, and try to keep the negative to ourselves and pray about it and deal with it. That's the way I done
I
Yeah.
love that, and I think that also that when you are like, you have your anxieties, of course you do. We wouldn't be parents if we didn't worry about our kids, right?
it. Yes.
Whatever age. But the thing about it is this: I can remember, I can remember clearly when things have happened, and I've sort of looked back and gone, why did I worry so much about that? But I wasn't slightly bothered about that. And yet
Yes.
that was the really scary thing. You
Yes.
know, I never
Yes.
even, I wasn't worried about the ski trip. The ski trip was the thing he'd got his gear, he'd done his lessons, he knew what he was doing, he was with friends. It
A-
should have been an absolute walk in the park.
As a mother, I'm gonna say this, and I take my hat off to you. As a mother always game plan for battle. She's always ready for battle. She's not concerned about herself so much. She's more concerned about the babies, the husband, and the dog and the cat and everything like that. She don't never worry about things going wrong in her life. She's worried about things going wrong in their lives, because at the end of the day, they're going to come to you and tell you their problems anyway. So you're trying to mount up all the ways that you can stop those things from happening, from
Yeah,
happening.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
usually the enemy comes in a different way, and we wasn't even never looking for it. And 9 times out of 10, it's like getting hit by Mike Tyson. I tell it blindsides you, and sometimes people don't recover from those things. So it's just best to take your hands off everything, take a bird's eye view of the whole thing. That's what I do mentally, and just even myself, and see what I may need, see what the kids may need, see what whoever it may be, and you can get through the day a lot better, and just try not to worry about it so much.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, with that situation, as I said, right the way down to packing his bags and everything. He did it with me and everything. The ski trip was going to be the trip of the world. He was so excited. He's going off to the Alps. It was going to be fantastic. And then we didn't hear from him. First couple of days, he seemed a bit down, but we were like, well, it's new. I fell off the ski. It doesn't
Mm.
matter. You'll get back on it. It'll be fine. And then the next day he was still, not he didn't tell us anything, but he wasn't himself. Then we
Right.
didn't hear from him for 3 days. And that is not my son.
Yeah, you
Like,
went into weary
especially,
mode. You was weary.
right?
You was a
I
long
knew,
time
and
ago.
I knew, right? So I was like, something's going on. What's going on? We need to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
And then little did I know they were terrorizing him. And
Mm.
when I say terrorizing, they were taking his phone, taking his charger, giving back his phone, but his phone was dead. Then they knew what they were doing. They were playing. Every
Yes.
pair of pants was put in the shower.
Mm,
They filled up his salopettes with water.
mm,
Everything they could. And these were his friends, the
yeah.
Mm.
friends that begged him to go on the trip. And I was
Wow.
like, what the heck?
Hey,
But what happened was,
with friends like that, you don't
it
need enemies.
wasn't. It was there was a guy who was put in the room with them. It wasn't one of their gang, wasn't one of the quiet ones, wasn't one of the nice kids. He was a little shit, and I'm telling you that nobody wanted him in their room, and they decided to put him in with all the sensitive, scared little baby
Mm.
ones, like ours, like mine, two other children that were borderline, probably autistic, certainly quiet, nervous little funnykins, right? So the gang leader had to recruit new soldiers from the gang. So he recruited 2 of the so-called friends, and they became the soldiers. And the
Mm.
reason they became the soldiers was they were scared the bullying would be turned on them.
Yes.
So that's why they did what they did. And when asked, they were sobbing and saying they were sorry and they really cared for Ben, and but they were so scared for themselves that they did it because, right?
Mm.
And when I got involved, Ben was walking out of the hotel in the French Alps on his own. No passport, no nothing, just walking out the hotel. And I was like, okay, I would like you to just sit down in the hotel foyer and talk to me first. Then I'll get on a flight. Daddy's already looking now where I can go to fly to. I will fly and come and get you. You just stay where you are right now. Because if you walk out of there, I won't know where to find you. Okay?
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, Mum, I'm going to go and sit down on the chair in the foyer. Meanwhile, Charles was looking at every phone number we have for school teachers, head teachers. Um, no phone numbers were answering anybody. No teachers were answering. But I remembered I had an email from them about the trip. So I said to Charles, give me, you take the phone for Ben. And I sent an email, where the F are you? My son's about to walk out this hotel. I suggest you get your ass down to reception now. Oh, I was, no question. And
Yes,
I said,
Lord.
and then we'll be having a conversation.
Yes. You put
And
a stamp
then
of urgency on it.
he went down. He read the email because it went to his phone. He realized he hadn't got his phone, hadn't looked at it, but the email came to his phone. He went down, he found Ben, he found me on the phone to Ben or Charles. And then I said to him, give the phone to the teacher. And I said to him, do you know there's a nude photograph of Ben taken from the shower, been passed around all the kids?
Mm.
And he was like, no. I said, did you know that my child's been terrorized? Did you know? And I just went bang, 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 bang. And the teacher was like, oh my God, oh my God. I said, oh my God. I said, you ain't even got a job when you come back, mate. I said, and if it doesn't get sorted, I'll take the school down. And he was like, okay, what do we do? I said, what do we do? You asking me? You're running the show here, you know?
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
ask me what to do. I'm not problem solving. I said, I'm getting on a plane to come and get my son because I can't trust him with you. Yes, you can, Mrs. Hallam. Yes, you can. I've got a family suite. I've got a spare room, a spare little room, bed in my suite. He can sleep in there tonight, in with us. I said, fine, if that's where he goes. I said, otherwise, I want you with your back to the door. I said, so he doesn't leave. He was like, no, I'll lock the door and he'll be in with us. And then tomorrow morning it gets dealt with. And so I said to Ben, are you okay with that? Or do you want me to get on a plane? And he said, no, let's see if we can sort it out. And I said, that is so brave. And then he went and stayed the night in with the teachers. Now, the kids that did the bullying, of course, were in the room when Ben was getting their stuff, right? But he's still on the phone to me. And Joshua was crying his eyes out. His really good friend, but really timid and shy, sobbing his eyes out because he was scared that he was going to be in so much trouble, but also scared that he hadn't stood up for his mate, right? And then, so we had Benny was crying his eyes out, Josh was crying his eyes out because they knew. But then the troublemaker was like, yeah, whatever. And I said to Ben, would you just give, the other kid was called Ben as well. I said, just give him the phone. And he said, what do you mean? I said, just hand the phone to him a sec. And I just said to him, you are so in trouble. I said, you've got the devil in you, kid. I said, and I'm telling you, that's going to get you into so much trouble. I said, so this is what I'm suggesting. I said, you don't go near my son from now to the end of the trip, because if I find out you so much as say one word to him or about him, when you get off that coach, I'll be waiting for you. And he was like, okay. I said, with a policeman. I said, because by the way, you're 12 years old, and what you've just done is sexual offence. You
Yeah.
took a photograph of my son, that's sexual offence. At this point, right, he burst into tears. And the teacher says to me, Mrs. Hallam, you're now making the child cry. And I'm like, good! Wait till I get my hands on his
He
neck,
turned into the Terminator. Yes,
Oh
Lord.
my God, did I? But the thing was,
It's required sometimes. It's
it
required.
was required. But
Yes.
when I went round to see I went to see the mother of that child.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, when I found out everything that had happened, I wrote
Mm-hmm.
a report. And as a therapist, I wrote a counselling report, as if I was actually going through to put this into social worker, right? And
Mm-hmm.
when I wrote it out, I took around a copy and I said, that's your son. I said, he's psychotic. That is a psychotic person that you
Mm-hmm.
have as a son. He needs serious help and
Yes.
he needs it now.
Yes.
Otherwise, in a few years' time, when he kills someone, you'll be like, what, my son? What, my boy? I
Yes.
said, you'll be surprised. I've got news for you. That boy has got serious issues.
You know
And
what?
she was like, oh my God, you're right. You're right. I've let it. I shouldn't have. I said, you put him in boarding school and
Yeah.
you live in the same village as the school.
Yeah.
Why did you put a child in boarding school when you live in the same village? Do you know what she
Yeah.
said? I
What's that?
can't cope with him. I
So
thought they would be able to cope with him better.
you see that? Having
He,
babies and can't take care of them. You see that at the end of the day?
abandonment. The kid had abandonment issues.
So
The
she's
kid
passing
saw
that on. She's passing
exactly.
it on to him.
Absolutely. And Ben had two loving parents that he hated because
Yeah.
that's what he really wanted. It
Yeah.
wasn't really about Ben, it was about us.
Yeah.
We were the problem. He
Yeah.
was jealous of the fact that Ben had this stability and support and love and care, and
Yeah.
he didn't. That was
Yes.
what it was really about.
Yes.
But it took a long time for me and my therapy head and writing all the report out to realize it. And
Yeah.
I took around a 5-page report. And my 5-page report said everything. And I said, you hand this in to a psychologist, a therapist, and you need to see one tomorrow. And I said, oh, by the way, did you know the phone got lost? So she said, no. So I said, so you think he still has his phone then? So she said, well, yeah. I said, oh, only he told us when we asked if he had the phone that it was lost. I said, because the police would like the phone because they
Mm-hmm.
want to do some forensics on it. And she just looked at me like this. I was lying because the police said to me, you handle it however you want to handle it, right? Because at
You
the
put
end of the day, we don't care. If you want us
yeah.
to come and take the phone, we'll get the phone. But he'll have deleted it, and it will
Yeah.
cost you a lot of money, probably about £1,000 for
Mm.
you to have that phone checked and go back into history and everything else. But
Yeah, you
don't
wanted to
tell
put a
them
little
that.
fear in her. You wanted to put a
Yeah,
little fear in her. Yeah,
I
Lord,
just
hey,
wanted him
that's
to
necessary
understand.
too. That could be
I
necessary.
wanted him to understand the severity of what had happened.
Mm.
And when this kid came down the stairs, he was terrified.
Yes,
I was
Lord.
like the biggest devil you've ever seen in your life. He was like, it's Ben's mom. Oh my God, she's come to kill me. And it
Yeah,
really
you
was
were
like
playing
that look,
devil's
the
advocate. You
face.
were playing
Yeah,
devil's advocate. Yes, Lord.
but
He said,
somebody
let's,
had to do it.
yeah, no, indeed. Look, and I can agree with you. So someone had to do something, right? Look, Carrie, welcome. It's great to see you during the daytime as well. I know you're at work best of times. So
Hi,
why did
Carrie.
the cow become a banker?
It's
He wanted to milk
a
the
good
system.
one.
Yeah, so we like that one, Carrie. We like that one, right? Look, there is a flip side to everything, right? Of course, sorting out problems is one thing. I wonder what you both think about the way most parents would go about transitions. You'll be fine. You're gonna make friends. You'll be the best one in the class. All that. Does that help? Or are we no? Because in the description I
Mm.
mentioned
No, you're putting pressure on them.
we'll suddenly give kids a pressure. Now suddenly it's more pressure because now they're thinking about I don't want to let mom and dad down. I don't want
Yep.
to let school down. I don't want to let myself down. I don't let my friends down. It's now suddenly they got the whole world on their shoulders, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
please,
You putting expectations on the outcome. You should never put expectations on the outcome. Just go in there and tell them, let your light shine and have fun. At the end of the day, it drops the chips where it need to be, because you can tell a child to do this and do that, and I hope you have this and I hope you have that. But until that child believes in himself or herself, she will never blossom and grow to be the flower she needs to be. And if we always putting expectations on them, they're always trying to live up to our expectations instead of living to their own expectations of who they need to be. And that's what I believe.
Yeah, there's an incredible distress. It's called distress anxiety that is caused by a parent's expectations. So you put the expectation on, the child goes into distress for failing or not achieving what you expected. You'll get 10 out of 10 in your spellings, won't you? And then they get 9, and it's like, I'm still top of the class, but I didn't get 10. You know, let's learn to wind it all back in again and just say, do your best. Your best is good enough. That's
Mm.
always been my attitude about everything. As long as you've tried, as long as you've done your best, mum's happy, dad's happy. We don't care as long as you're a nice child. If you, I always used to say, and it's interesting, Victoria Beckham said this the other day in an interview, and I thought it was brilliant. She said, you might not be the prettiest girl in the class, you might not be the thinnest girl in the class, you might not be the richest girl in the class, but if they say you're the kindest girl in the class, we won. And I said pretty much the same to Ben. I said
But
to Ben, I don't care if you're the fastest, you're the cleverest, I don't care if you can do more burpees than anyone else. All I care about is, are you a nice person, and does everybody know that you care and you're a kind person? And he
and
always used to say, that's important. That's the
and
most important thing.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty of putting that on my kids, especially with their grades. I put expectations on their grades. So at some point, my youngest daughter, she would come home and say, Daddy, I made a 95 or a 92, but I didn't do good. Or her lowest grade on her report card might be a 92 or a 94. And she's like, I could have did better, because I was always drilling them. It was always drilled in me, and I didn't finish school. So I was doing them the same way. And they was trying to, even though she is ranked like seventh or fourth in her class, she's still trying to push for more, because at the end of the day she think I expect it. And I had to slow her down when her mom died and told her, baby, I'm proud of you regardless of what you make, long as you go in there, do your best and have fun. Because that's when my wife died, I realized that all this stuff we're doing, we're just doing it at
mm,
the at the end of the day, we just doing it.
Stuff.
and you,
It's
and you
just
mu-
stuff.
it's just stuff, and even the
mm,
TVs, the cars, the houses, all this stuff is temporary. But what you put in your child is eternal. And they got to
Yes.
understand it, and it teaches them who they are, and don't put faith in things, and don't put faith in people, but put faith in you. And when you put faith in you and you learn the gift that God put in your heart and you learn to cultivate that, you'll become great. But they have to understand that part.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think that it's also a realization on our part. Or
Yes.
that's it.
Yeah.
I love your honesty, and it said now that's it. That's an issue right there, right? When we keep putting on the kids, saying that we mean to encourage them, to empower them, to raise them up, and then
Yes.
that's saying that, but we just don't appreciate, so that's just added pressure all around. Which
Yeah,
Mm.
and there's a thing, Eddie, that is really important for people to understand, is that for kids it does get easier, but for parents it never gets easier. Okay, right? For kids it gets easier, right? When mummy's at the school gate or daddy's at the school gate, right? It happened. They said they'd come and they came. That means they get a tick. That means every time someone's going to be there, I'm not like an abandoned dog in a home where no one's going to come back for me, right? Because that's what school feels like, a prison. I'm
Yeah.
going to a prison for all these hours, and
mm,
what if no one's there to pick me up, right? So
Right.
when there is someone there, and then when you made a friend on the buddy bench, somebody shared your whatsits with you on the buddy bench, you know that actually it's going to be okay because I made a friend. So you
Yeah.
come home and you tell your mum, I made a friend. You tell your dad, I made a friend, right? So
Yeah.
that means now you've got your mum was there, your dad was there, the friend you made, and then the next one is everything around you is the same when you get back home. They didn't change anything. The house didn't change. No, nothing's different.
Right.
Nothing is different. Somehow in their minds, going to school when something could be going on back home. They
Mm-hmm.
don't know about it. They don't know what's going on while you're, their kind of brains going, could you be doing something? You shouldn't be doing, like going for all their toys and chucking them away. You don't know what they're doing, right? Because they're
Right.
not there to watch you. So children get that safety from coming home and having same. Same is safe.
Yeah.
Same is safety, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then over time, the experiences, psychologists will tell you that same creates resilience, right?
Right.
Um, not the absence of fear. That isn't what creates resilience. What
Mm-hmm.
creates resilience is belief in yourself and that resilience that comes with it.
Yes.
And then gradually, the more that same keeps happening,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes like, okay, I can handle the difficult experience because I've got same. I've
Yeah.
got that resilience. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? So
Yeah.
the psychologists believe, and that's what my training tells me, is that kids learn that same is
Mm-hmm.
safe.
Yeah.
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 And there's safety in same, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as something changes, we have to accept that we need to change with them,
Yeah.
understand that something's moved, there's been a shift. So, like you said, losing a parent is a massive shift.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, same is very different. Same
Yes.
doesn't look the same. Same
But
has got a difference,
but
right?
but you did you know how I combat that?
Tell
I
me.
let that child know that you are the star of this show, of his life. I want you to go out, even though some stars lose their parents early. Some stars, it's a bunch of different stars, but they have different trials, and everybody's story is not going to be the same, baby. But it's up to you to wake up and be great every day because you're only going to attract what you are. And if you
Yeah.
wake up bitter, angry, upset, what do you think you're attracting? But if you wake up with joy, peace, happiness, self discipline, all the fruits of the Spirit, that's what you're going to attract. Because I tell people you can have heaven on earth, and I tell them babies, all you have to do is say no to what makes you uncomfortable
Yeah.
and allow your life to be a magnet, and everything that's for you will attract to you, and you'll never have to be somebody that you're not a day in your life, because everything that's around you will stay with you because of you and not because of what you can do.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think that when a child understands that they are the star of their own story, they are the star of their own show. I mean, my son is now 22. He's
Mhm.
just finished his master's degree in,
Mhm.
I get emotional.
I see that. Look at that, that
I
mama that
had, I had
swelled
to,
up.
yeah, I know, stop it. He's just got his master's degree and he got a first class honours
Yes.
in biomedical science. I mean, I couldn't be more prouder.
Yeah.
He wants to cure the world, and I
My
love that.
my daughter
Anybody
got
that
her.
wants to go out and cure the world is good for me, right?
My daughter got her associates in no her her bachelor's in biological sciences. So I can tell when you smile like that, I'm smiling too because you can't wipe them grins off with plastic surgery. You see that? Only God can put grins on you because you know you put something in them kids and it stuck. So at the end of the day, I take my hat off to you, sister. Yes, Lord. You see that? So at the end of the day, I am so proud of you.
We've been through some trials and tribulations, and we've come out good.
Yeah.
And I say to him, the tools in your toolkit are almost as important as that piece of paper
Yes.
because you've been through so much that you've learned so much.
Yeah.
And
And,
when he went as a sixth former, So he
Mhm.
was 17, 18, and he went and he said to the head teacher, I'm setting up an anti-bullying desk. I'm going to do that. I'm going to sit in my break time. And if a kid's being bullied or worried, they can come and see me. And the
Yes.
school said, we don't have a bullying problem. And Ben went, you do know who you're talking to, don't you? And
But you know
they,
that piece of paper that they get, I tell my kids, it's for you, and it's an achievement. But most importantly, it's the doors that you can open with that
yeah,
piece
of
of
course,
paper.
of
That's
course.
because
It's where it
only
goes
with
from here.
yeah, because at the end of the day, they're going back and pull people out that went through similar things they went through and show them the way out. Because that's what we are. We are all God in life. God said, "Let your light shine." And when you tell them, baby, that they're a gift from God to the world, oh, they change their mindset and everything. And because He said, "Let your light shine." So I tell
Yeah,
my kids, you better go out there and let that light shine. Because a lot of times we dim it, especially when we get
yeah.
around different groups and cliques, and we'll dim our light. If you got to dim your light, I tell them, baby, don't be around it because God didn't tell you to dim it. If you start dimming it, you
Mm.
disobeying. Yes, Lord.
He got his first bachelor's when he was in the Duomo in Milan in Italy,
Hmm.
and he was in Vienna at the most in the most beautiful. It's called Christchurch. He's in the chamber choir, and he
Uh-huh.
was in this beautiful building. I mean, stunning. And he sent a picture, and he went, here's a picture of the church I'm singing in tonight. It's a
Hmm.
cathedral. I'm singing this cathedral tonight, and this is what I just got. And it was the document saying he'd got his first bachelor's of honours. Sorry, first master's of honours, and it was like somebody's looking after you, mate. He said, "Yeah, I've got someone on my shoulder," and I
Yes.
just love that.
Yes,
I
Lord.
love that idea
See
that
that?
he doesn't walk alone. And
Yeah.
if you feel like you don't walk alone, you've got it sussed
Yeah.
because you feel like you can take on the world, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a good
And
thing.
when my wife died, I felt so sorry for myself. I couldn't smile. I couldn't do anything. I felt like I was walking on autopilot. Some people may know what I'm talking about. You just going through the day existing, not really living. So what God told me is this. He said, the love your wife showed you, that was my love flowing through her to you. That's how much I loved you. And I looked at it differently. He said, even with your kids, even with anything you have, he said, you can never know my perfect love. So I show it through different people to you. He said, just like Noah built the ark. And I used him to build that ark. I use people to show people love too. He said, I do a lot of things with a lot of people, and that start opening my eyes to God's love and it start opening my eyes to people. So I try not to be mean to people because you never know what they're going through, and you may be the miracle in their life to keep them
Yeah,
going. So
yeah,
when you keep your mind stayed there, because you know God made every heart that beats, and when you treat it as such, your life begins to change because I believe you're a mirror to every situation you're going to fall
everything.
in later in life, and the way you treated that situation is how it's going to treat you later because I believe all things work together.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And Miss Martha, what have you got to say? Because you're sitting down there in a beautiful hat.
Is that Martha? How you
Yeah,
doing, sister?
yeah. I'm
It's
doing good. I'm doing
it's
good.
Martha.
I'm on a road trip with my son.
Hey.
We are traveling all over down south. We met Jane yesterday, Paulette. It was so sweet.
Oh, how lovely.
Um, and I've been just, exploring with my son, and he got a no yesterday. He wanted to see something that was very special to him, and I got to see his shoulders go down really fast. And I
You
said,
felt it. You
I
felt it.
said, yeah. And I felt it as a mom, and I
Yeah.
said, you know what, son? I said, it's okay. We're going to
Yeah.
try somewhere else. And, we're going to say, it's okay. We're going to knock on all the doors we can. Paulette taught me that. And until we get a yes, and,
Yeah.
and it will happen.
Yeah.
But we're looking at some schools. He's in high school, going to be a junior now, an 11th grader, and
Okay.
so we've been looking at schools, but we don't think SoCal is it for him. So
Are you
it's
in California?
we're in California.
Oh, okay.
We went to San Idros near the Mexican border,
Okay.
um, and San Diego. We're in Los Angeles, and we're just traveling now back down the coast.
Yeah, just
And
tell him to flip a coin, put his two best schools in there, and just give it to God. He'll lead him the right way.
yeah,
You know what I
yes,
mean? Just take your hands off of it like Noah. Don't put the steering wheel on the boat and just let it ride. You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We've been having some really good conversations too, Paul. And I heard you, Paulette, about your son getting his master's degree. Congratulations to him.
Man,
That's so like that's huge
yes,
as a
Lord.
mom, and you too, Paul, as a dad. Your child graduating with their bachelor's degree. As a parent, that's what you want. You want your kids to succeed, but
Yeah,
also as people we want to see other people succeed.
yes.
And being out here in back here, I am from Los Angeles, but I was raised in Monterey. Today we're going to go around my old neighborhood. So I was born in South Central, but I lived a little bit of my life in Inglewood. And
So okay,
and
so you got a little hood and you're a little elegant at the same time. That's just like your boy, he's hood but elegant at the same time.
yeah, right now we are in Inglewood. So so I was telling my friend, my dear friend, sister in Christ, Jade, I said I've been taking my son purposely to areas most people probably wouldn't travel to because it's good to open, you
It's
know,
all
I
good in the
I-
hood.
you
It's all
know,
good. You get a little barbecue sandwich, you're gonna be all right. You know what I mean?
yeah. But it is an eye opener too because I do serve the in-house community, and I've seen so many young adults, maybe under the age of 20, out on the streets. And me and my son, we've been in the car, and he's like, "What's wrong with him, mom? Like, why is he talking to himself?" I'm
Yeah.
like, most people would probably think he's on drugs, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
But
hard life.
I
Yeah, hard life.
yeah, but I don't see that. I see someone that may be schizophrenic, someone having an episode right now. There's no
Mhm.
drugs. He looks
Yeah.
healthy, but
Mhm.
people, misjudge him and think
It
there's
could
there's
also
something
be
else
that
wrong.
he's also
Mhm,
lonely, Martha, and
And,
that
and,
sometimes
and,
loneliness creates the
and
need
I'm gonna say,
to talk to yourself.
mhm,
And I mean,
mhm.
I do it. I have team meetings with myself. I talk to myself, right?
Yeah,
yes,
So
Lord,
yeah.
me too.
if I
In
need
the
to be
morning.
sure that I've got something, I want to make sure that I'm going to deliver my whatever properly. I'll be reading it out loud and thinking about it and speaking out loud. So Ben speaks to himself sometimes, and I
Mhm.
go, "Listen, do people not think you're a bit weird?" And he goes, "Mum, I was an only child, right? Who was I going to talk to?" And I looked at him and I was like,
And,
"Okay."
and, and
And
you
That's
know,
then
right.
the mirror.
being in the church and in the Bible, I look at people like you was talking about the schizo and all that. I know we put names on it, but those are spirits at the end of the
Mhm.
day. And I
Yeah.
think if you speak life into them and show them
Yep.
love, they can come out of that bondage. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day,
For sure,
we
for sure.
we label stuff, we call things stuff, but I think sometimes we read in that book, it'll show us exactly because it talked about when the man was so strong, he was breaking chains and everything else. And you have that today with they on certain drugs, they can break chains and all that, but at the end of the
Mhm,
day, it's still a spirit, and they got a stony heart, and they're going through it, and it's just because we as people don't show them love, and we think they're
mhm.
beneath us until we
Yep.
find out later that we were wrong about that. Yes, Lord.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Paul and Paulette, about the talking to ourselves and then the spirits. I educated someone recently, um, who was telling me to avoid certain areas
Hmm.
because there's a lot of homeless people there, and so then we had a chat, and I said, how would you feel if it was your child out on the streets? Or
Yes,
maybe
Lord.
a brother or a sibling, that whole attitude changed.
Yes, Lord.
And it's like we got to see people for people, and we got to remember we're someone's child.
Yes, and everybody gets that delivery. I promise you, keep waking up. You're gonna get
Yeah.
that call that somebody passed in your family. So
Mm-hmm.
if they take today, we live in the past and we live in the present. I mean in the future. We don't never live in the present. We don't never take time to say thank you for today. Thank you, everything is okay. Now let me enjoy my kids where I ain't gotta write out an obituary. You don't worry about writing an obituary until you really have to write an obituary out, and knowing that day forth, you might get another call that says you gotta do that again. So at the end of the day, if everything is straight and everybody's healthy, I say praise God. Yes, Lord. That's what it taught me because I did my brother's obituary and I did my wife's, and them was not happy days. So if I ain't gotta have that day again, then I wake up in the morning with expectations. Say, okay, Kirk, we finna be great. And even if I do get another call to do that again, at least I know what to expect. You know,
Mm.
and I won't put faith in people because a lot of times people are gonna let you down. So that's why you have to put faith in yourself, knowing you can carry any weight that God gives you on this green earth. I promise you that.
I think as well, Paul, that and Martha, I'm so glad you got to meet Jane, and I can't wait to put my arms around you. But I know for a fact, and it will happen. I know it will. But I also think that, when we get a no doesn't mean a no, you're no good. A no doesn't mean no, you failed. A
Right.
no means you weren't right for this particular opportunity,
Hmm.
but there's a better one around the corner.
Right.
So, to my way of thinking, you take those no's, like you don't take them as like right hooks. You don't take them as like a punch to the chin. You duck and you weave and you miss it, right? And that's how you get through life.
Rocky.
You
Rocky.
just, yeah, Rocky. So
You know
you
what
have to be
I'm
like Rocky. So when your son is saying, "Oh, I feel like that was really bad. That knocked my confidence." No, 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 no. They weren't right for you, son. Right?
Yes.
They didn't see your greatness.
Yes.
When the school sees your greatness,
Yes.
that's when you'll be at your best.
And
So
you know
to
what?
oh,
That you saying that people think rejection is all the be all. Rejection is God's protection. You're not ready yet. You thought you were, but at the end of the day, it's not a loss. It's a lesson. You learn from that lesson. You build on that lesson, and then God will create that opportunity. And when the opportunity come around, you knock it out
yeah,
the park. You know what I mean? You
yeah.
just call it home run. Bring me a spot of tea, darling. Yeah. You know what I'm
A
saying? We can
spot
have
of
us a
tea,
good little,
darling. I
yeah,
have a
spot
spot
of
of
tea.
tea.
So
No,
you,
but you're right. You're absolutely right. The thing to say to him, and this is what I've always said. Like I used to make people laugh about things like cross country. Every kid hates cross country. There's 180 kids take
yes,
the cross
Lord.
country, right?
A lot of
And
running.
nobody wants to do it. But anyway, Ben is always third or fourth from last. That was where his position was. He used to sort of jiggle around, sometimes come third from last, sometimes fourth. But sometimes when he was on form, he might come in at like fifth from last. So
Okay.
but he was always in the last five
All
of
right.
the kids that came in. And when he came through that line, the ribbon they hold up, if
Mm-hmm.
you saw the photograph that I've got on my wall, you would
Mm-hmm.
think it was Chariots of Fire, right? He comes through like this,
yes,
like
Lord.
he
Hey,
won,
he did
right?
it. He
He
did it.
won his battle with that hideous thing that he hates so much.
Yes.
He
Yes.
went there, he turned up, he did it, he finished it, and he came
Yeah.
in whatever it was,
And that's
right?
stronger than me because I wouldn't have finished it. Hey, I'm telling you, when we hit that corner around that, I've been coughing, looking for a taxi, and saying, "Hey, y'all have it." Because at the end of the day, I used to hate going to school because we gonna have to run. I had asthma real bad, and I hated it. I couldn't stand running. It made my chest feel like it was on fire, and it was just 100 pounds on it. So at the end of the day, if he could get through that, he can get through anything. Yes, Lord.
And that's what I'm saying. The parents that gave their kids the day off, the parents that said you don't have to go into school and do it, I'll write you a sick note, right? Those parents, and I can name them all, those
uh,
parents have not helped their kids at all,
no,
because
I was
there's
one
going
of
to
them
be
parents.
stuff
I was
in
one of them
life
kids.
they're going to have to do, they ain't going to want to do, right? And
Yeah.
if we take away all the stuff they don't want to do, we haven't set them up for life.
Yeah,
So
I was one
when
of
your
those
child
kids.
gets a no, that is setting him up for life. It's saying that no wasn't a no, you're no good. It was a
Uh,
no, this ain't right for you.
yes,
The right yes is coming around the corner. You
yes,
just got to wait for it.
yeah,
And
and just
that's
stick to
my
it.
honest belief.
Stick to it. Just keep going. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want them anyway because you you gonna have to perform a certain way. You want somebody that's gonna pick you at the end of the day because that way you can wake up being you and ain't got to try to be anybody else. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
freedom in that. That's what they say. Freedom in Christ Jesus.
Absolutely. I agree. I
You know
totally
what I
agree
mean?
with you. And I'm a great believer. I mean, one of the things that I wrote down is that the paradox, and this is something, Martha, you'll be able to explain. The paradox, one of the hardest things for parents is that protecting children from every difficult transition
Mm,
doesn't necessarily make them less anxious in the long run.
mm,
It doesn't build resilience. It doesn't help them understand change, and it won't give them doesn't support them in trusting adults. So what we end up doing as parents, trying to be the best parents, actually is a negative, right? Do you see
yes.
what I'm
Hey,
saying?
all parents, y'all get with me. We gonna go get on the airplane and we gonna jump out of it. Cause that's what it feel like when you let go of your child's hand. It
Yeah.
feel like you let go of all control, and it feel like everything finna go out of haywire. It's finna be chaos in the city, and I don't know how I'm gonna make it through. So if y'all wanna get with me, we gonna get in the plane. We just gonna say Geronimo. Hey, that way it'll be easier when you can let go. Sometimes you gotta face it physically before you can do it spiritually. Sometimes.
Well, Ben's going to be going off to get a job, right? The big
Hmm.
change in his world is now he's done 4 years at university. Now it's the job bit, and it's like writing a CV and getting his CV out to people and whatever. And now he can update it with his actual qualifications. Great, um, but it's still got to be out there, and it's going to be up against other kids that have got the same. So
Yeah.
what is going to make them choose you over anyone else? And it's
Right.
going to be your kindness, the way
Mm.
you present yourself, the way you show up, and
Yeah.
the way that you show them the person you are,
Right.
not the qualification bit that got
Right.
you through the door. The
Yes.
rest of it is about you as a person.
Yeah. It's that star
And
quality within you. You see that?
exactly, we're
See
building
that?
it.
Yeah, see, that's what happened with Jacob. He put that coat of many colors on Joseph. You see that? And they don't understand this coat. You ever heard people say, "You a jack of all trades"? That's that coat. You know, it's a bunch of rainbow colors in that coat, and you can do a lot of different things. I probably like 7 different things. So at the end of the day, God give us talents, and when you tap into that talent, and that baby know what he can do, and they truly believe in themselves, you're gonna see a Michael Jackson out there. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? He be
yeah.
moonwalking across that stage talking about, ooh, you see?
You know, the thing is, Paul, that I'm not supposed to know this, but I got a phone call from his head of science when he was at school, and
Uh-huh.
he had to write a document himself to go with his university application.
Hmm.
And they asked him, why did he choose biology? Why did he choose microbiology? Why did he choose that particular line of science?
Hmm.
And he said that I want to make medicines for other people's mums to keep their mums alive, like the
Yes,
ones that have kept my mum alive.
yes.
And
You
I
see
was
that?
like sobbing. I was like, bleh,
Mm.
right?
Uh-huh.
You don't know that your kid has understood so much of what you've gone through and what he has seen. And
Hmm.
then you realize that it affected him in a way, in such a positive way, that
Yes.
he's gone, I want to be able to do what somebody else did
And
for
you know
someone else.
they get good examples too at school. They get to see other kids and the parents that they have. They know how fortunate they are. A lot of times we don't think they do, but they do. Sometimes it takes God to make mommy and daddy get sick for a couple of days and they can't do the certain things that they do, you know what I mean? And then they get the taste like if mama wasn't here, it could get real. You see that? So why them kids and I tell my kids why there's warm blood running through your parents' veins, your auntie's veins, and your family members' veins, love them because they will call and check up on you and make life a little easier sometimes when you in your what I call the Jonah situation. You know, when
Yeah.
you're in the Jonah the whale, when you isolated and you may need a phone call here and there to lift you up. So it's always good to keep that in mind. But a lot of times I think we as people don't think about those times that we're gonna be in stuck in tight spots and we take time for granted, until it's too late.
Don't, yeah, I mean, I'm a great believer in don't believe you're doing it wrong. This is you, the parent. Don't always think you're doing the wrong thing. Don't think you're damaging them. Don't
Yeah.
think that anything you're doing to them is hurting them. All the time, you're building them. You're
Yes.
helping them, give them the building blocks of life. And then those
Yes.
building blocks of life will kind of come round.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Those building blocks will come round and they will allow them to face a problem in a very different way because they've already got those building blocks, those resilience, that self belief, their
Well,
belief in
I
God.
can
They've
tell
got
you.
all of that that is in their backpack, in their
Yeah.
toolkit, and they're
Yes.
like, okay, well, come on, give what you got. What you got? You show me what you
Mm,
got because I'm ready for you because I've
yeah.
been trained, right?
Yeah. See, it started with you.
That's
It
how it
started with you.
starts.
It
Of
had to
course, it
start with
did.
you because you had to talk to yourself and you taught your kids to do the same thing. You had to speak life to yourself. And that's why I tell you have to take on that responsibility and everything that you decide to do and take responsibility for every choice you make. And then you're able to teach that to your kids. So I can tell it started with you and you was able to pass that on.
Yeah, I think we're both. He's very lucky that he's got two very um, determined parents, but
Yes.
also two very supportive parents. So
Yeah.
he always knows that someone's got his back, right?
Yes.
And if
Yeah.
I was to have died, and there's been 4 times last year alone where I
Wow.
was told that it was going to happen,
Hmm.
um, it was pretty scary for a lot
Yes.
of people, and for especially for us. And for Ben. And so every day is that I wake up and I open my eyes and go, thank you. Thank you for another day, right?
Yes,
Thank you.
Lord.
I appreciate you and I'll do the best I can. And I
Yeah.
always show up and I always do the best I can because
Yeah.
every day is a bonus, right?
You draw from the
And
well. You draw from the well. You get up in the
yes,
morning. It's kind of like your kids telling you bye before they go to school or get on the school bus. I go to God and tell him, "Hey, how you doing, pops? I'm finna go off and have a good day. Hey, watch over me. Make sure nothing happen. And then I go on, and it's a joy in that.
yeah,
Even when you get older, you can remember getting up in the morning, maybe talking to your mom before you go to school, and then going off to school. But when you don't do that, you're missing something in your childhood because I
yeah.
think that's a part of being a parent and being a child is that you spend a little time together, and the same way goes with God. If you just mirror it back to Him, I think your life will become a lot easier. There she is. She's back. How you doing, darling?
Here she is, Miss May, Miss Martha.
She said, I gotta get set up. I wasn't camera ready
Hey,
a while
friends,
ago.
I'm back. I'm trying to turn the
She's
camera.
there.
Here we go.
You
Oh,
go.
look
You're
at that.
back.
She a star in her own right. Look at her. I got three. Hey, I'm in between two ladies. How y'all doing, fellas? Y'all better get in on this now, man.
So I've got a question for Miss Martha here.
Yes.
Okay. So I got a question for you. When when we're talking about the unhoused community, and I go to the place where I'm thinking of everybody, right? I'm like everybody because the unhoused community could be anybody at
Yeah.
any time,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at life like that, one paycheck away, that's all
Yeah.
it is. You got to go, Paul.
Yeah, I gotta go.
You take care.
It's after 11, but I'm gonna get
Go.
with y'all, and I
Oh,
love
Go
it's
do
y'all.
good to
your
see you,
thing. Be
Paul.
good.
Take
See you
care.
later.
I'll see
Bye
you
bye.
later.
Bye, lovely.
Okay.
Bye bye. So I was going to say this to you, right? When you said to a parent, this could be your child,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I had the same conversation about a child being gay. I've had the same conversation about a child having autism. I've had the same conversation about so many things that I'm now at the point where I'm like, what does it take for people to understand that we are all at risk of change, right?
Yep.
And we
Yep.
can't prepare ourselves for it.
Right.
Yeah. All you can ever do is be the best version of you at all times
Yeah.
and hope that it doesn't put you in that position, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you end up finding out, okay, I'm gay or my son is gay, whatever, you've got to love that child come what may, because that child is part of you, right? The same way that you would love that child if that child said, I'm going to go and do this, or I'm going to go and do that, or I want to join the army. You're like, that's the last thing you want the child to do. But if that's what your child wants to do, you've got to love them enough to let them go, right? And what I feel now is, with the amount of young people in the unhoused community, we have to ask ourselves, what went wrong? What went wrong with parenting? What went wrong with that communication between parent and child, where they could talk it through and work out their differences, right? Because that's what we're talking about here. They have nobody. They're on the streets with no one. They think that maybe back home the parents are worried sick, but they don't know where they are, right? And so we can't judge the parents, we can't judge the child. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm like so confused because we have so many young people on the streets. I was looking at the percentages the other day and I was like, this is ridiculous. The sheer number of homeless people on the streets that are under 25 is shocking. I think it's something like 55% of the population of unhoused are 25 and under. And so many came from the foster care system. So many came from they've been in the military and they've come out of the military and they're unhoused. It's like, where's somebody not picking up the pieces here? There's a hole, right? Do you not agree? A
I
big black
completely
hole.
agree. I'm here right now, you know, my eye is a little swollen. I don't know why, just so you guys know, in case you notice. I don't know
I
if you
had one
can.
last week. Throughout
It's
hay
so
fever.
annoying. I don't know why it's swollen. But I've noticed, like, where I'm at here, just traveling up and down, coming up down south from up north as well in San Francisco, we have the same issue. And I know we'll probably embrace this. I mean, we could probably talk about this even more in depth at our next event too. People helping people next week, July
Yeah.
22nd. Um, but among as parents, right, and educators, and even as an advocate, what we can do to help our neighbors, our families, is educate people as we come across them. And I talk about it all the time. And I told Jane yesterday, I said, my son probably gets tired of me, right? He says that I talk too much, and I do talk a lot. But, sometimes you have to talk to allow people to understand and to see the message from a different viewpoint.
Yeah.
And when we see people that
Perspective.
are on the streets, yeah, they can't afford rent, and but there's layers to that, and people see them as just lazy people that don't want to get jobs. But there's layers. Maybe there's a background, and there's a background because maybe they came out of foster care and didn't get into a family that was welcoming, because that's another thing. I mean, when we're fostering the children, how do we know if that family's going to treat that child right? Are the social workers doing their job by ensuring that that child is in a secure place? Are they checking in with that child mentally? Is that child getting counseling? I don't know how that process works, Paulette, but maybe you do know that background a little bit more than me.
The
But
thing
there's
that we have is a huge problem in that we pay people a lot of money to foster children, but that doesn't mean we pay them to do a good job. But there are checks, but the checks are because we have so few social workers, we don't go around and check that because it's not something that can be checked. They haven't got the money or the resources to check it. So that means that the wrong people end up looking after kids. And the homes, the care homes are like, they're run by people that you would never give the position to. I would never want my child to be there. And so for me, when they leave that, I mean, I'm doing care leaver parcels at the moment, and I'm putting together care leaver parcels. And somebody said, well, why is it so important that the girls get mascaras? And I said, because when you are in care and you're a care leaver, you come out, I said, and it's heat or eat. It's not heat, eat, or mascara. I said, it's heat or eat. If I can give them a mascara, it's a blimmin' bonus. If I can give them deodorant and shampoo and shower gel and a big parcel of goodies, some jewellery and God knows what else that I'm gathering off my TikTok crazy people, then you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm doing it for the boys too. I'm getting them caps. They've got the leather bracelets, they've got wallets, the girls have got purses. I'm trying my best to do deals with people left, right, and centre because I know they will leave with pretty much nothing, and it breaks my heart. And when I found out that 33% of the people on the streets are from the care system, 33%. The percentages that I quote are from books, from Psychology Weekly. They are there. These hair on my face. The numbers are there for everyone to see and read, and we've got to do something about it. We have got to, and people helping people is where we're going to do it. We're going to change the
That's
world.
exactly, yep. That's exactly what we're doing. And it is going to happen. I mean, I'm here, I'm spreading the word about it to different folks that are, here living it. I mean, I'm by the airport and we've got trailers literally camping outside the airport of unhoused people. Their trailers are, run down. They look like they're non-working. Um, so my question is, while we live in one of the richest states in the world, I mean, in the country, probably the world, I don't know. Why are we suffering like this as a community? Like the neighbors coming out, they're witnessing what they're witnessing. But even the people that are coming here thinking that, oh, we're going to find freedom in California, we're going to get all these benefits just to come live on the streets. It's a lot, but I'm not seeing anybody out here providing outreach. And we need more of that in every corner of every city. We need more people with their vests providing outreach services and getting these folks housed. If it's not in California, then applying them into other states if they so wish, if they are okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't think I haven't heard anyone that's applying for housing opportunities outside of the state of California because people don't think that's an opportunity, but it is. You don't have to stay in California. You can move somewhere else. You can get housing
And
in other
especially
places.
if you thought that California was going to give you everything and it didn't, it's quite a
Yeah.
good reason to not stay in California. You
Yeah.
thought you were going to have somewhere where the pavements are made of gold,
Right.
and
You
that's
know,
not quite how it is.
yeah. I was in Beverly Hills yesterday and my son wanted to go explore and he's a teenager, so he's like all into these fancy things and I'm like, this does not bring me joy. Uh, but I seen an unhoused man crossing the street with no shoes, no shirt, only his pants in Beverly Hills. And yeah, he was crossing the street, putting his hand up in the air like, stop, don't hit me, as the light was green, he was stopping traffic. That's here, Beverly Hills. I'm just like, Okay. And then we went up by UCLA, it's near Beverly Hills. And now we got students. In that community, we've got students, we've got unhoused people, then we got probably students who who are unhoused, who were students and now are on the streets.
Because they've got no jobs.
So
We've got a lot of
we
work
should
to
have,
do, and I
yeah,
think that I mean, your thesis, I think we'll be writing it as we do
yeah,
the job.
yep.
We really will be, and I
Oh
think
yeah,
that I've got 5%, so I'm going to have to say goodbye in a minute. But the
yeah,
most important message is, children become more confident the more opportunities you give them, and the more that you repeat that things are going to be okay, and they are okay, they believe it. So today's sermon or lesson is really about don't do too much for your child. Let them fall, let them fail, let them have problems, then pick them up and show them how to go forward, and with the resilience, and take that opportunity of failure as they weren't ready for me, the next one will be, or that didn't go so well, but you watch me next time, or I might have only got 6 out of 10 this time, but it's okay, I'll get 10 out of 10 the next. That's how I see things. You don't have to make everything a drama. Try and keep things as low key as you can. And that's my message, folks. Please, I've got 3 books. I've got Jack and Water in New School Niggles, New School. You've got Jack and Water in New House Nerves, Transition New House. We've got The Banterless Breakfast, Jack and Water, The Banterless Breakfast, about bereavement, about suddenly losing a relative. Those 3 are all the biggest transitions that there can be. And that money goes to Martha. If you buy that book in America, that money goes to Martha. Now, I haven't seen that many sales in the States for a long time. So I'm asking you now, if there's anybody watching this on YouTube, if there's anybody watching this on any platform, wherever we are, LinkedIn, wherever, please buy the books, because the money goes to Connect Impact Hub, and it will make a difference. Thank you. Bye-bye, darling.
bye. Love you guys. Thank you.
Love you
Paulette.
too. Bye. Bye, sweetheart. Bye. Okay, so I think everybody has gone. The room is ended. I'm down to like 4% left. So I have told you about my books. I told you what's happening to them. If you buy them in the UK, the money goes to buy more books for Compact Cases, which is the charity that I help in the UK for children that are moving around the foster care system or the care system. And that's what I'm doing over on TikTok, is that I am actually trying to become an affiliate, so I get stock and samples and things, so that I can then use those as gifts for care leavers and maybe even some of the older children in the care system. So that's what I'm doing. My books are all part of that as well. We will be gifting books as part of our donation. So I'm going to leave it at that. I've covered everything I wanted to cover. I think that Annie will be back shortly. Let me just check what I'm to do, just to make sure that I've done it right. Talked about the books, read to Emily, say I'll be home in 15. Right, okay. It's ending now. I will call it a day. Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate you all for coming, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.
Walter #1 bestseller worldwide. Stories that inspire, becoming every child's guide. She teaches resilience, skill by skill, slowing worries down. issues with a stronger mind, building generations one heart at a time. When the storm clouds gather and you don't know what to do, take a deep breath, clear your mind, let the answer come to you. Walter's gonna be there in your present and your future too. So just stop and ask yourself, what would Walter do? What would Walter do? What would Walter do? What would Walter do? Not for profit, but for every child's right to handle smaller challenges, to stand and fight. The bigger stuff takes longer, that's okay, but confidence begins with what we do today. Trustworthy souls and integrity shine at Mental Wellness Cafe. She draws the line between drowning in the darkness and finding light. She lifts them up, teaches them to hold on tight. When the storm clouds gather and you don't know what to do, take a deep breath, clear your mind, let the answer come to you. Walter's gonna be there in your present and your future too. So just stop and ask yourself, what would Walter do? What would Walter do? What would Walter clear your mind? Give yourself headspace to think before you let the pressure make your spirit sink. Self-belief and talking to someone you trust, these are the tools that lift us from the dust. She champions the dignity of growing strong. Every child capable, they belong all along. Generations rising with the strength she's built. Paulette's legacy, a world without guilt. From Huntington to hearts across the globe, her compassion is the thread that she has woven and sewed. Adults and children, all